Okay, money makes the world go around, business makes the world go around. Can we not at least, we're not just gonna snap our fingers and have some beautiful post-apocalyptic society where we're all, it's like the kingdom of Jehovah or something like that. I mean, that's not realistic whatsoever. But I mean, we can, I think, like backtrack and start by, changing systems and making them more fair. We can develop treatments for people that will give them better quality of lives or quality of life, and and also have that be profitable. Don't you think? I think there's happy mediums and compromises to this.
What exactly is the use of letting somebody get so sick with arthritis that they can't bring themselves to move?
Well,
Would you
maybe
like
it's
to
just
answer me that?
well, maybe it's just because they simply haven't discovered inexpensive therapies that don't harm, the shitty ones are the ones that hurt you. They're harsh, harsh, low grade, drugs
Plus,
that
I've
are
heard that little
available
things,
on.
or things that are little, like tooth infections, can precipitate larger larger conditions,
Oh,
which are then
hugely.
untreatable. So why not just cut to the chase and snip it off while it's still small?
Oh, hugely. Teeth are a hugely like a huge public health concern that gets completely
A,
ignored.
nutrition,
It's
and
not
B, of
Teeth are not
course,
hair, okay? I mean, you can't, like teeth hair doesn't get infected, does
A,
it?
teeth are required for good
Yeah.
nutrition. Two, teeth, the inside of the human mouth is to a certain extent filthier than the human bum.
But bugs.
It's not good to have it be full of holes.
Ew. That's so okay, but in all seriousness, the kinds of bugs that live in teeth when they're infected, they give you heart disease.
Yes, my point
They
exactly.
cause heart failure.
Also possibly rheumatism.
Part of my POTS, I think, is because of the lack of dental treatment and all the suffering I had
Also,
to
you
go through with my
probably
teeth for a long time.
need something just outside your skull removed, whatever that
Yeah, I
is.
know.
It's a little white sort of chalk mark, looks ossified on the X-ray because
I know.
there's one on the other side, but it doesn't look
I
so
know it
calcified.
looks different. I know, but anyway,
That
point
it looks
is,
bad.
talked about that. But what was there was a question there. How stupid is it for doctors to keep? Okay, so since when? This is a thing that I typed out there in the prompt.
Mm.
Since when is asking to get your actual needs met considered malingering? Because when I was in the appointment with that psychiatrist, the second one that was supposed to, refute the factitious BS, which was what she did. She said, okay, you're not factitious, but you have PTSD, blah, blah, blah. She's trying to kind of soften it. And I
Well,
was like, fine.
PTSD does make a person physically ill
Yes,
if you stack enough
that's
of
all
it
very complicated, but
with other
she said something
stressors.
about, oh, it's factitious is when you're trying to get something out of it. But then I thought about this and I'm like, I wanted to ask her, could you please define for me what trying to get something out of it means? What if you're
Because if
trying to
you
get
mean
an
medicine,
actual
yes,
need met?
yeah.
What if you are actually ill and you're trying to advocate for yourself? Yeah, you're trying to get something out of it. There's so much cynicism in the way that they're thinking about people who are asking for help. Why is there cynicism? Because they're being defensive. They're insecure. They're trying to cover up. They're trying to retain profit. They're trying to prevent truths from coming out, like dirt from coming out from under the carpet. Right? So
When
they're
I
trying to pin
find
it. So
yeah,
they're being like asshole losers and pinning it back on the poor victim, on the
yes they
patient.
are.
How cruel is that really? When you stupid and cruel to do that, but it happens all the time.
Yes.
Doctors pointing the finger back out onto the patient instead of accepting responsibility. Do you know what that is? Do you know what speaking of like psychiatry and DSM, not that we love the DSM, but sometimes ironically, they need to take their own DSM. It's like a mirror, right? They're sticking the
Mm.
DSM out at
Are
people.
you saying
They need to turn it
this
back
is
around and read
projection,
it.
isn't it?
They're totally projecting. Do you know what they are actually like behaving like? Well, sociopaths are, that's a given. Narcissists. What do narcissists do? They they disparage, they point the finger back out and blame other people for their own shit. What are these systems doing, the medical systems, and when people are coming to them and asking for help, and they're saying, oh, you're a user, you're a malingerer, you're trying to like get something out of it. Yeah, the person's trying to get their basic need met, you jerk. Right? So that's abusive. Think about it. That's downright abuse via structural violence, which is systemic abuse. So structural violence is the term for abuse, within societal structures, right?
Also, it's abuse in the second sense of the word, as in poor misusing a system.
The entity of the system and the practices that they use to, which are all about covering up truths and, dodging liability and whatever, and saving money and retaining profit and whatever. All of those are, anyway, that the way that they are behaving, they're basically behaving like a bona fide abusive narcissist, malignant narcissism, malignant sociopathy.
I don't really know exactly whose fault that is. I know there seems to be a sort of consistent, I don't know, but I think when they're trying to figure out who to let into medical school, some of the interview questions seem to be designed to filter a certain person through and a certain other kind of person out. I'm not sure. Well,
yeah, the good ones often do learn to either try and work with the system and still try and like help their patient as much as they can. There are some gem doctors out there, and there also are doctors that quit or have burnout because they are, it takes a toll on them emotionally and spiritually what their limits are. I don't like Aspies, these doctors and stuff, because we question things, we see through things, we have high fluid intelligence, we're objective in our thinking. Huge threat to them, of course. But anyone who's going and trying to seek answers, right? I mean, people obviously do that, and they make it like it's an abnormal thing. They pathologize it. Do you know that it's not abnormal to experience, to become almost obsessive when you're not getting the answers and something's terribly wrong? You know that that's a normal human reaction to that? Do you know depression and anger and anxiety, those are all normal human reactions?
Situational depression.
You're not having your basic needs met?
Situational depression is what it's called when the depression is not the result of a chemical imbalance, but rather logistical malfunctions.
Exactly. So, since when is an actual need considered malingering? In what world? A world where systems are totally structurally violent and basically narcissistic?
That
kind of world is where such a thing is considered malingering.
Where those who are in need are considered unworthy of having their needs met, although the needs themselves are legitimate.
And that goes back to a passive-aggressive feudalism, right? And hierarchy. They say that it's not, and it was such a load of bullshit. It's totally still very much a hierarchical system. It's just deceptive about it, So, anyway, since when? I mean, the question is like, when is trying to get your basic actual need met considered malingering? In a screwed up world. In a messed up system, a system that needs to change, a system that behaves narcissistically at the level of structural violence, right? Why is this really peaking now? Because...
Is it the fault of Monsanto, among others, creating more illnesses? And
it's the fault of evolution not happening fast enough, and systems not willing to admit that. And admit that they're, not up to par. And that they need to change.
Evolution.
That's narcissistic.
Of people or of systems?
Of systems and people. But the systems, if the systems would change, well, sadly, so would people, because it does seem like societal behavior is influenced by the structure of the systems.
Yes.
Right? But it's like a chicken or egg thing. Society needs to evolve enough to have a rise in consciousness about, in terms of like the need to change. Right? They have to really realize that we need to change. People need to really start talking about that. So the pressure needs to build. And then the systems do change, and then the society also evolves. A lot of people that are sort of anti-system and sort of think we should be more free-flowing and not give systems so much clout would say, well, why should systems have to influence the way people are? But they do. They do. They always have, in one way or another, don't you think? It's sociology, isn't it?
It would be difficult to have anything to compare it to, because there always has been a system.
Even in even when we were cavemen, there's still were little systems
That was
and
such
tribes.
a long time ago, though.
Yeah, well, we're a different creature then. We were like a friggin' monkey.
Monkey time, and that's that.
Some people are still monkeys.
Sorry
A lot of
about
people
that.
are
That
still
was just for
monkeys.
demonstrative purposes, of course. Just be thankful I didn't throw something else.
Just be thankful that the ducky didn't hit me.
Why did I throw it that way?
Anyway,
Here, I'll retrieve the ducky. Got the ducky.
being pathologized. People being pathologized for asking for a basic right is
How'd that
as
go with
stupid
that?
as this thing right here. It's bottom line is that it's really fucked up for people to be labeled as a problem patient who's malingering and who's frauding or conning or whatever, simply for having to access their survivalisticness, that's not a word, in order to get their basic needs met, or to try to. That's messed up.
Pathologized for going into survival mode when necessary.
We're doomed. But no, we're not doomed. We just need to change. And I do think that we're going to change.
Yes.
You know? I think it's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
People just need to talk about it.
It rather scares me
We need to call
how
it
much
out,
I've stood between.
right? Do we not? We just need to call it out for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucked
It
up.
scares me to
It's abusive.
when
It's
I
narcissistic.
reflect
It's
on
violent.
how much I've had to stand between at least one friend and my system to avoid having the friend get shredded.
No, since when is trying to get your actual need met considered malingering? Any final thoughts on that?
I don't really know. I guess when the condition itself isn't visible, when it's something they don't quite understand, like nausea, discomfort, pain, and such, that's when it's considered malingering. When it's something they don't understand very well and don't admit that they don't understand
try and
well.
label it as they instead of accepting responsibility, we just don't know. They're putting blame back on the innocent person who's suffering. So what's that? Malignant narcissistic behavior? The behavior of an abusive, malignant
False
narcissistic...
economy, among other things.
Well, okay. Yeah. Night-night.